Welcome back, my friends. Today, we peel back the layers of a story that isn't just buried. It's actively being covered up. Because while many are distracted by the usual headlines, something enormous is taking shape in the shadows of global power politics. This isn't just about diplomacy, or military deals, or sanctions. No, this is about a tectonic shift in the world order itself. Let's begin with a name that should be ringing alarm bells in every Western capital: Wang Yi, China's top diplomat. Recently, in an uncharacteristically blunt statement, he accused the United States of shamelessly bombing the nuclear facilities of Iran, an independent country. He warned in chilling terms that such actions risked unleashing nothing less than a nuclear catastrophe, one that wouldn't merely engulf Iran or the Middle East, but could drag the entire world into chaos. And Wang Yi's words struck a nerve. "If the national power decides what is good or evil," he said, "where are the laws? Where is the justice? Power cannot bring peace. It will only open Pandora's box." Those words weren't just diplomatic rhetoric. They were a direct indictment of U.S. foreign policy and its unrelenting military adventurism. And here's the kicker. He's not wrong. But what happened next? That's where the real story begins. Shortly after Israel's ceasefire agreement with its adversaries, Iran received a significant shipment from China: advanced surface-to-air missile systems. Let that sink in. Iran, long isolated, sanctioned, and demonized by the West, is now openly purchasing air defense systems from China. And the timing? Impeccable. During the recent 12-day conflict, yes, just days ago, Israeli fighter jets were actively targeting Iranian missile sites, severely undermining Iran's deterrence capabilities. The Israelis knew exactly where to strike. Their F-35s were hunting mobile missile launchers deep inside Iran. Iran's glaring weakness? Air defense. Their spear was strong, their missile arsenal is feared throughout the region. But their shield was weak. Their skies were vulnerable. And Iran knew it. That's why the moment the ceasefire took hold, their top priority became crystal clear: rebuild and fortify their air defenses before the next inevitable war. Now you might ask, why didn't Russia step in? After all, Iran had long-standing deals with Russia for S-300 and S-400 systems. But here's the reality. Russia's hands are tied. Their war in Ukraine has consumed every ounce of their military-industrial capacity. They simply can't deliver. But China? China has no such limitations. In fact, according to Western analysts, China's defense industry is operating with excess capacity. They can produce these systems en masse. Years ago, China tried to sell its HQ air defense systems to Turkey, but Washington killed the deal, fearing Turkey's defection from NATO. But Iran? They have no such constraints. In fact, China has already exported similar systems to Pakistan, and those systems have proven their worth in the simmering India-Pakistan conflicts. This isn't just about hardware. Iran saw what those Chinese systems could do. They're cost-effective, reliable, and, most crucially, available without political strings attached. For Iran, time is now their most precious commodity. They can't afford to wait years for Russia to catch up. They need weapons now, and China is ready to supply. In fact, just recently, Iran's defense minister was spotted at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit in China, most likely shopping for military hardware. And it doesn't stop at missile defenses. There's credible chatter that Iran is eyeing China's J-10C fighter jets, proven systems that performed remarkably in Pakistan's recent skirmishes with India. But here's what most people don't realize. Modern warfare isn't about individual platforms, it's about integrated systems. When Pakistan's J-10Cs went toe-to-toe with India, it wasn't just about the planes or even their missiles, it was about the entire network. The AWACS radar planes, the data links, the long-range PL-15 missiles guided by external radars. In those battles, Pakistani jets didn't even have to turn on their radars. Their AWACS planes guided the missiles from afar. The Indian jets never saw them coming. Iran understands this, and they're already halfway there. In 2024, Iran quietly abandoned GPS in favor of China's Beidou satellite navigation system. That move changed everything. During the most recent war, Iranian missiles targeting Tel Aviv weren't guided by American satellites. They were steered by Chinese systems. That means future Chinese-supplied fighters, missile defenses, and drones will seamlessly integrate into Iran's growing Chinese-backed military network. This isn't just a weapons deal. It's the birth of a deep long-term military alliance. Weapons systems aren't like cars. You don't just buy them and drive away. They require years of training, maintenance contracts, software integration, personnel exchanges, and Iran, long proud of its sovereignty, is now openly embracing this dependency. The 12-day war taught them an unforgettable lesson. Standing alone isn't strength, it's suicide. Now, Iran is locking itself into a tight military embrace with China, and by extension, Russia. This isn't theoretical, it's happening right now. For years, Iran's membership in BRICS was symbolic, just summits and press conferences. But now, it's operational. Real hardware, real training, real integration. We are witnessing the birth of a Eurasian military-industrial axis. It's not just Iran buying weapons, it's knowledge transfer, joint war planning, shared defense architectures. And this, my friends, is a nightmare scenario for Washington. Because BRICS was never supposed to have teeth. It was supposed to be a talk shop, a polite, powerless counterweight to the G7. Now, BRICS nations are realizing that economic ties alone aren't enough. Security cooperation is inevitable. Why? Because they're all under siege. The US has targeted Russia. It's targeted Iran. And it's been preparing to confront China for decades. This isn't about dependence. It's about survival. These nations know, if one of them falls, they all become weaker. Their fates are intertwined. Iran's pivot toward China may be just the beginning. Other BRICS members may soon follow, purchasing air defenses, integrating satellite systems, conducting joint drills. And the old world order? It's starting to crack. There's a reason this didn't happen sooner. International arms embargoes on Iran only expired in 2020. That's less than 5 years ago. It takes years to integrate advanced weapons into a military force. But now, the clock is ticking faster. Iran may soon be operating some of the most advanced Chinese weapons available, systems already battle-tested in other theaters. Meanwhile, what's happening in the West? Trump is back on the warpath, demanding Europe spend 5% of its GDP on weapons, even though the US itself only spends around 4%. European leaders, spineless as ever, are scrambling to appease him. NATO officials openly grovel at his feet, grown men calling him daddy in the most humiliating displays imaginable. But here's the truth. Europe can't afford this. Their economies are collapsing. Their industries are gutted by sanctions and energy shortages. Their car sectors are dying under US tariffs. So now, some are floating the insane idea of military Keynesianism, trying to stimulate their economies by producing tanks and missiles. It won't work, but they'll try anyway. Because in Washington's eyes, this isn't about defending Europe. It's about selling overpriced American weapons. That's why Trump pushes these absurd spending targets. He knows most of that money flows right back into US defense contractors. Buy our overpriced LNG, buy our overpriced missiles, and do it with a smile. And yet, Trump's obsession remains elsewhere. He doesn't want endless wars anymore. His priority isn't the Middle East, it's deporting immigrants and dominating domestic politics. Netanyahu, however, has a different agenda. His survival depends on war. He needs to stay in power to avoid corruption charges, so he keeps expanding the conflict. Gaza, Lebanon, now Iran. But the recent war revealed a shocking truth even to Israel. They expected America to back them unconditionally. But when Iranian missiles began striking Israeli cities, it became clear. Washington wasn't ready to dive into another Middle Eastern quagmire. Netanyahu's war ambitions collided with Trump's isolationism. Trump wants cheap victories, symbolic strikes, headline-grabbing operations that don't risk American lives. But Israel can't fight Iran alone. Their F-35s need mid-air refueling. Their operations depend on U.S. intelligence and logistics. That's why Netanyahu is still desperately trying to drag America back in, begging for green lights for more strikes. But deep down, everyone knows. The U.S. is not ready for a full-scale war with Iran. Not politically, not economically, not militarily. The transport ships that once carried 170,000 troops to Iraq? Scrapped. The political will for a new invasion? Gone. Trump may flirt with escalation, but even he knows that body bags and $2 trillion wars don't win elections, and so we stand at a crossroads. On one side, a crumbling, debt-ridden West, propping itself up by forcing allies to buy its weapons, chasing the ghosts of empire. On the other, a rising Eurasian alliance, armed, coordinated, and increasingly willing to defy the old rules. Iran's pivot to China isn't just about missiles. It's about survival, it's about sovereignty, and it's about reshaping the future of global power. This is bigger than just Iran, China, or even BRICS. This is the beginning of a new world order, and it's accelerating fast. If you found this analysis insightful, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more deep geopolitical breakdowns, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Because what's happening now isn't just history, it's your future. Stay sharp, stay aware,